generator, and even a helicopter that ran on radio frequencies. A true free energy device that keeps batteries consistently charged. It took me several months to find him, but when I did, it blew my mind.
You might find it hard to believe that Tesla is facing its biggest challenges as the leading innovator in electric vehicles and clean energy. Surprisingly, it is neither from a rival automaker nor a tech billionaire. Tesla's new competitor is Maxwell Chikumbutso, a self-taught inventor from Zimbabwe. Unlike Tesla's battery-powered electric cars, Maxwell's inventions generate their energy, which is free. Why hasn't the world adopted Maxwell's work, and how will it affect Tesla's stake in clean energy? Join us as we reveal the African invention giving Tesla sleepless nights. Maxwell Chikumbutso's unlimited energy tech. Elon Musk spent the past years building his tech empire, and let's face it, Tesla is not only the face of innovation, but also the face of Musk's empire. Tesla built electric cars, robots, and clean energy projects with a promise to free the world from fossil fuels. If they told you Tesla is in big trouble, you'd probably laugh it off. But it's real. Tesla is facing a real challenge that could send it away from the markets. Surprisingly, the challenge is coming from the least expected place, Africa. Meet Maxwell Chikumbutso. Maxwell is not from Silicon Valley. He didn't study at an Ivy League school. Trillion-dollar corporations didn't back him. But he had built something that could change everything. Maxwell's invention is not an upgrade to existing technology. It was something completely different that would make the entire system obsolete. You are about to witness the dawn of African engineering that would blow your mind. At first, people dismissed the claims. A self-taught African inventor developing technology that could power homes and vehicles without needing a power grid, batteries, or even sunlight?
The vehicle, it uses what we call the microsonic energy device. The microsonic energy device is the device that I personally invented in 2009.
It sounded too good to be true, but when demonstrations started surfacing, videos of his devices running on endless energy, the doubt turned into curiosity. Remember that Tesla has spent trillions trying to perfect electric cars, making them faster, more efficient, and widely accepted. Elon Musk's goal was clear: to replace gas-powered vehicles and push the world toward renewable energy. But Maxwell's technology makes Tesla look outdated. According to media reports, Maxwell's car doesn't need to be charged. They could run forever without stopping. That single concept was enough to send shockwaves through the industry. If Maxwell perfected his invention, everything Musk had built could become irrelevant one day. Tesla's success depended on battery technology. Musk had already set up massive gigafactories in Gigafactory Nevada, California, China, Germany, Texas, and New York to refine and produce batteries at scale, but that wasn't all. He also set up charging stations all over the world. The plan was to make sure Tesla drivers never ran out of power. Musk was never alone. Many countries have invested billions in renewable energy infrastructure to support this vision. But what if none of that was needed? If a car didn't need to be plugged in, charging stations wouldn't matter. Battery factories wouldn't matter. The electric grid wouldn't matter. A world running on unlimited free energy wouldn't need Tesla's technology. And that wasn't the only problem with Tesla. Musk also spent years developing reliable solar energy. People cannot generate electricity thanks to solar panels and home battery systems. Musk thought homes and businesses would require clean energy to be stored in massive battery units shortly. But again, Maxwell's invention changed the game. If energy could be generated freely without panels, wind turbines, or a fuel source, everything Musk had worked toward would no longer be necessary. This wasn't just about innovation. It was about survival. Musk had always faced competition, but it had come from predictable places. Other billionaires, massive corporations, or startups backed by venture capitalists. But Maxwell is a different ballgame. He is not playing by Silicon Valley's rules. He is not trying to win over investors or dominate the stock market. He's an outsider, working on the industry's fringes with ideas that challenge the very foundation of modern technology. It was interesting to see how the industry responded to Maxwell's invention, but was in total denial. Experts claimed it was impossible, and journalists dismissed it as a hoax. But the truth is that Maxwell's invention will leave you completely speechless, and that's what we'll reveal next. What powers Maxwell's inventions? Most electric vehicles currently in the market rely on lithium batteries or hydrogen fuel cells, but Maxwell came up with a brilliant idea. Every device he built taps energy from ambient radiation and converts it into continuous, usable power. Let's break it down. The car generates energy from the air around as it moves. It is like a self-sustaining cycle that eliminates the need for charging or refueling. Remember how wireless signals transmit data if you think a vehicle cannot pull power from the air. Now, instead of data, the atmosphere radiates some remnant energy, so Maxwell built a machine that can tap that energy. Fantastic, right? But the road for Maxwell is not as smooth as you think. Vehicles store energy in fuel tanks or batteries, but Maxwell's system does not rely on lithium, hydrogen, or combustion fuels. The car is designed to maintain perpetual motion by sustaining its energy cycle without external input. In theory, the vehicle can operate indefinitely, provided the necessary components remain functional. But the good news is not just the vehicle. Think about how much the world would change if we could bring this technology to homes, cities, and nations. For instance, over 700 million people lack access to electricity, particularly in underdeveloped regions with unreliable or non-existent power grids. With Maxwell's approach, remote villages could have self-sufficient energy without investing in massive infrastructure investments, expensive maintenance, or depending on utility companies. But that is just the beginning for Maxwell. The bitter truth is that not everybody is happy about his invention. We have come to an exciting part of the video, like who hates free energy, and how Maxwell's invention will survive industry giants. It is almost impossible to bring this level of disruption without resistance. The moment the term free energy enters the conversation, the entire fuel industry takes notice. Oil tycoons, utility providers, and even renewable energy companies stand to lose trillions if energy becomes abundant and self-generating. Even companies that have pushed electric vehicle adoption, like Tesla, are at risk. While Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates have invested billions in lithium battery technology, solar grids, and hydrogen energy, Maxwell's car threatens to render those investments obsolete. Tesla built its empire on cutting-edge battery technology, marketing itself as the leader in clean transportation. But what happens when batteries aren't needed at all? Similarly, solar farms, wind turbines, and hydroelectric dams, which are considered the future of green energy, would face irrelevance if power could be tapped from the atmosphere itself. The entire energy economy is structured around scarcity. Industry players are unhappy with any invention that promises free or abundant energy. How else would they make profits? And remember that this is not just an issue for individual investors. Private energy companies will take the first hits, no doubt. As demand for gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel collapses, most will fold up. But have you thought about companies that survive on energy exports? Maxwell is not just against some industry players. His invention will earn him enemies in countries like Saudi Arabia, Russia, and Venezuela. Wall Street investors who have sunk trillions into energy stocks would watch their holdings crumble. The auto industry would be forced into a brutal reckoning. Manufacturers that have spent decades refining internal combustion engines would find their entire business model obsolete. Hybrid vehicles, once seen as a stepping stone toward a greener future, would suddenly look outdated. For ordinary people, the disruption would be life-changing in the best possible way. Families wouldn't have to worry about the cost of gasoline or fluctuating electricity bills. Commuters wouldn't need to stress about rising fuel prices. In countries with scarce energy, this could provide access that was never possible before. The ability to generate power freely and indefinitely would give individuals a level of independence that has never existed before in the modern world. That is why you won't see Maxwell asking for support or investments at tech events. In fact, according to media reports, he lives in hiding somewhere in Zimbabwe. If you're wondering why he had to go into hiding, it appears Maxwell didn't stop with his unlimited energy car. We are about to reveal some of his other creations. Believe it or not, these machines will blow your mind. Maxwell Chikumbutso mind-blowing inventions. Maxwell Chikumbutso applied his unlimited energy technology to other areas that could completely change how we use energy in our daily lives. One of his most mind-blowing creations is a self-powered TV. No plug, no electricity bill. Just endless streaming without worrying about your screen-guzzling energy. It is not sci-fi anymore. Maxwell is now in the final phase of perfecting it. According to media sources, TVs run on the same technology as self-charging cars. That means you can place it anywhere, turn it on, and binge-watch without a second thought about power consumption. There are no messy cables, just pure entertainment whenever and wherever you want. Now, imagine if this technology became mainstream. Think about places where electricity is unreliable or absurdly expensive. Families who could never afford a TV because of high energy costs would finally have access without the stress of monthly bills. In disaster-stricken areas where power grids fail, these self-powered devices could keep people informed, connected, and entertained. Entertainment wasn't Chikumbutso's end goal. He set his sights on something even more interesting: energy for entire homes. People's homes can finally run completely off the grid, not because of solar panels or wind turbines, but because of a compact energy device that generates continuous power. No utility bills, no blackouts, no dependence on fossil fuels or aging infrastructure. It sounds too good to be accurate, but this is precisely what Chikumbutso's microsonic energy device was designed to do. This technology doesn't just power a single device. It can run an entire household. Unlike solar panels that depend on sunlight or wind turbines that rely on weather conditions, MEAD generates energy 24/7. It taps into radio frequencies, magnetic fields, and even atmospheric heat, creating a constant and renewable power source. For areas with limited or no electricity access, this could be life-changing. Millions of people worldwide still live without stable electricity because traditional energy infrastructure is expensive and complicated. A portable, self-generating energy device will bring an end to that. The interesting thing is that MEAD could make a massive difference in cities with advanced power grids. Energy bills are skyrocketing, and a self-sustaining home energy system would be a game-changer with global prices constantly fluctuating. It would slash costs, reduce carbon footprints, and give households energy independence. Plus, in regions prone to blackouts or natural disasters, it provides energy security that traditional systems simply can't guarantee. Now, take this concept beyond homes and TVs. Let's talk about self-powered hospitals in remote areas, schools that function without unstable power grids, and emergency shelters that remain fully operational during crises. The humanitarian potential alone is staggering. Maxwell's vision is about giving people true energy independence. He's challenging energy poverty head-on, creating technology that could shift power away from massive corporations and put it back into the hands of everyday people, but where things take a darker turn. We mentioned earlier that Maxwell lives under the radar. According to those familiar with his story, he began to notice unmarked cars outside his home, mysterious warnings, and people following him. In fact, he admitted to some people that his life was under threat. Some people called him paranoid, but something happened that shocked everyone. One of his closest business partners, who fully believed in his mission and invested heavily in bringing this technology to the world, was unlived in suspicious circumstances. The details around their death are still murky, one of those accidents that raise more questions than answers. Sadly, Maxwell is not the first inventor to face this kind of resistance. History is full of stories about breakthrough energy discoveries mysteriously disappearing, patents getting locked away, and, in some cases, inventors themselves vanishing. We are still waiting to see whether his inventions will reach the masses or be buried by those with the most to lose remains to be seen. Thank you for staying with us. Skepticism over scientific validity. Skepticism can sometimes feel cruel, especially when it dashes the hopes of someone who seems so close to a big breakthrough. That is what has happened to Maxwell Chikumbutso. Even though he claims to have built a vehicle that runs on radio waves, many experts are not convinced. They say his discovery might break important laws of science, such as the idea that energy cannot be created or destroyed. As a result, people are asking for proof that he has struggled to provide. This situation has caused heartbreak for those who believed Maxwell had a way to solve our energy needs for good. Some of his local supporters see him as a hero, while others want to see clear evidence before they celebrate. Skepticism, in this case, means experts demand tests, data, and open results that show how his engine works. They also want to know how he can get enough power from radio waves to move a car at normal speeds, let alone reach high speeds. Such doubt is not meant to be unkind. In fact, it is a key part of the scientific world. When someone makes a huge claim, people expect strong proof. They might repeat tests over and over, look for errors, and share findings with other experts. If the same results happen again and again, the claim looks stronger. But if the claim breaks important laws of science, even the loudest praises tend to fade unless there is solid proof. For Maxwell and his team, it must be very painful to face such strong doubt. Supporters might feel the world is ignoring his efforts or being unfair. But we should remember that science does not make exceptions just because an idea sounds exciting. Every new claim, no matter how good it seems, must be tested.
So this guy, they said, oh, we are willing to work with you in the journey. If this thing works, then we have to work together. So right now, we are working on that to put an assembling plant in Zimbabwe, to start with an assembling plant.
If Maxwell's invention is real, it still needs to pass these careful checks to win trust and truly change the world. At its core, skepticism helps us avoid being fooled by big talk and false promises. It keeps us safe from wasting time and money on ideas that do not work. True inventions, when tested fairly, will rise above the doubt. The heartbreak for Maxwell may lie in how hard it is to protect his vision under the weight of so many questions. Yet, if he truly has discovered something amazing, time and thorough testing will reveal the truth. It might not be easy, but skepticism is something every bold inventor must face before the world embraces their creation. Lack of independent testing. Lack of independent testing is a major setback that has cast a dark shadow over Maxwell Chikumbutso's bold claims, causing heartbreak for supporters who hoped his invention would change the world. He says he built a free energy vehicle powered by radio waves, an idea that seems too good to be true. Many people want to believe in his vision, yet the absence of outside testing makes them pause. They wonder, if this invention really works, why not invite experts from around the globe to come and see for themselves? In scientific circles, independent testing is like a seal of trust. It means outside parties, people or groups with no personal stake, are allowed to test, inspect, and pick apart new technology to see if it stands up. Without this process, doubts can grow. While Maxwell has shown his invention to local leaders, critics argue that government officials might not have the right tools or experience to confirm his claims. This gap between Maxwell's promises and the proof people want is painful for those who support him. They watch him share his message, hoping each time he will provide solid evidence. Yet those repeated calls for independent demonstrations remain unanswered. Some fear that if more time passes without open verification, the world might lose interest or even suspect a hidden trick. True innovators usually welcome tough checks on their work because it shows they have nothing to hide. When we compare Maxwell's situation to famous tech stories, the difference is clear. Companies like Tesla and SpaceX show off their progress to reporters, scientists, and anyone else who wants to see real results. By allowing outside experts to investigate, they gain trust, and their announcements carry weight. Maxwell, on the other hand, stands apart, choosing to keep important details away from the public. This choice only fuels more skepticism. It is heartbreaking to see such promise on the verge of being dismissed. If Maxwell truly has a revolutionary idea, he risks losing his moment in the spotlight by not letting outsiders test it. Even those whose hearts are set on his success admit that strong proof is needed to quiet the naysayers.
What sort of agreement do you have with the car manufacturer in terms of having the same technology on another car?
In automotive industry, it's something that is not difficult to do.
A product so extraordinary must pass through fire to show its worth. The lack of independent testing remains a giant barrier to acceptance for Maxwell Chikumbutso. Outsiders want to see numbers and facts, to hold and compare data for themselves. Until that happens, heartbreak and doubt will continue to follow every mention of his once hopeful technology. Media and global bias against African innovators. Maxwell Chikumbutso's story highlights a painful truth. The world does not always give African innovators the same attention it gives to Western entrepreneurs. Many people first heard about his free energy vehicle claim with wonder, only to see it overshadowed by doubt. While skeptics question the science, another factor sits in the background like an elephant in the room. Global media bias that often neglects African ideas unless they are backed by major Western outlets or famous faces. This bias is heartbreaking because many African inventors work tirelessly, hoping their dreams will be seen and understood by the world. Yet, when they step onto the global stage, their voices often go unheard. Part of the problem is that most international media hubs are based in Western countries. Reports of new technology from Africa may not get the same level of focus, making it harder for innovators like Maxwell to break through. For Maxwell, this means his claims, however bold, are swallowed up in a silence that might not greet someone like Elon Musk. Musk can announce a future plan, and media outlets across the globe rush to cover it. He can show prototype images or concepts, and thousands of websites publish them. In contrast, Maxwell's words can seem to vanish into thin air, forcing him to rely on local coverage that rarely reaches an international audience. Such an uneven playing field is more than just unfair. It also discourages young African minds who might have brilliant ideas but fear they will not be taken seriously. They grow up seeing global headlines centered on Western companies, while African innovations are often labeled as not proven or unconfirmed simply because they lack worldwide press coverage. This climate leads to missed opportunities and broken dreams. At times, African inventors have to leave their home countries to gain better access to research funds and fair media interest. For Maxwell, the heartbreak lies in staying home, trying to prove himself in an environment that may not have the global networks or resources he needs. Even if his invention truly works, few may see or test it without robust international support.
This is one of Chikumbutso's groundbreaking innovations. He calls it a self-powering electric vehicle, powered entirely by radio waves. This is the first of its kind in the world.
Meanwhile, social media could have been a powerful tool to share his achievements. Yet, even these platforms can be biased, with algorithms that favor big brands and certain geographic regions. This means Maxwell's voice can still be drowned out by louder, more established names, making it difficult for him to show the world what he may have discovered. No tangible proof of concept. One of the biggest issues surrounding Maxwell Chikumbutso's bold claims is the lack of tangible proof of concept. While his idea of a car powered by free energy from radio waves sounds revolutionary, the world has yet to see hard evidence that it works as described. This missing proof has cast a shadow of doubt over his invention, leaving many to wonder if his claims are real or just another case of unfulfilled promises. For Maxwell, this situation is heartbreaking, as his dreams of global recognition hang in the balance. When inventors come forward with groundbreaking technology, the world expects to see a working prototype. A tangible proof of concept is essential because it shows that the idea is not just theoretical, but can work in real-world conditions. For Maxwell, this would mean demonstrating his free energy vehicle to independent experts, allowing them to inspect and verify how his technology works. Unfortunately, this has not happened. While he has showcased his invention to local officials and supporters, critics argue that these demonstrations have not been transparent or convincing enough. Without clear proof, Maxwell's claims remain stuck in a space between hope and skepticism. Many people are excited by the possibility of a car that runs on free energy, but they are also wary of being misled. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and until Maxwell provides this, the world will continue to question his invention. Some even compare his work to other unproven technologies that promised to change the world but ultimately failed to deliver. The problem isn't just about science, it's also about trust. When people hear about a car that never needs fuel or charging, they naturally want to see it in action. They want to know the technology is real and that it can be replicated. Maxwell's inability to provide this proof has made it difficult for him to gain the trust of the global community. Even supporters who believe in his vision admit that the lack of tangible evidence is a major hurdle. Doubts about radio wave energy. The idea of powering a car using radio wave energy sounds like something out of a science fiction movie. For Maxwell Chikumbutso, this concept is at the heart of his invention, a free energy vehicle that could revolutionize transportation and eliminate the need for fuel or charging. However, the technology has raised significant doubts among scientists and experts, casting a shadow over his groundbreaking claims. These doubts are not just technical, they are deeply rooted in how we understand energy and physics, making Maxwell's journey both fascinating and heartbreaking. Radio waves, as we know them, carry energy. This is why they can transmit signals for radios, televisions, and cell phones. But the amount of energy they carry is extremely small and is usually only enough to power tiny devices like sensors or trackers.
The inventor chronicled how himself and his colleague had been poisoned in the United States of America because their idea was challenging traditional ways of thinking. Chikumbutso's colleague succumbed to the poisoning incident.
For Maxwell to claim that he has harnessed radio waves to power a full-sized car raises eyebrows. The scientific community is skeptical because converting such small amounts of energy into enough power to move a vehicle seems nearly impossible with today's known technologies. One major doubt comes from the laws of physics, particularly the first law of thermodynamics, which states that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. Experts argue that the energy Maxwell claims to be harvesting must come from somewhere, and they question whether radio waves can provide enough energy to achieve what he says. Without clear data or an explanation of the process, these doubts continue to grow, leaving his invention in a cloud of uncertainty. Another issue is the lack of independent testing. If Maxwell's technology truly works, why not allow scientists and engineers from around the world to examine it? Sharing his process and results with the global scientific community could help silence critics and prove that his invention is not just a dream. Instead, the limited demonstrations so far have only added fuel to the skepticism. Many believe that extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof, and Maxwell has yet to deliver that. For Maxwell, the heartbreak lies in seeing his vision questioned and dismissed. If his invention is real, it could change the world and solve major energy problems. But until he addresses these doubts about radio wave energy and provides strong evidence, the skeptics will remain, and his dream will stay out of reach. The world wants to believe in miracles, but only when they are backed by undeniable proof. What could be happening at the secret chamber of Mount Rushmore? Share your opinions with us in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, click the following video on your screen and you will enjoy it.